guys, welcome to the video series of data engineering on Microsoft Azure DP 203. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. In today's video, we're going to talk about data security in Azure, more specifically data encryption in various services and dynamic data masking. So without further ado, let's start. First thing, what is data encryption? Basically, it's a mathematical function which encodes the data using a key, and only users with the access to that key can read the information. There are two types of encryption: symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption. In symmetric encryption, same key is used to encrypt and decrypt, while in asymmetric, different key is used to encrypt and decrypt, and a different key for decryption process. One of the key is known as private key, other one is known as public key. So if you look at the diagram below in this slide, let's assume this is our data. So we use, if it's a asymmetric encryption, we use this approach, like the same key is used to encrypt and same key is used to decrypt. So it's very intuitive, and same thing is here. So why, this is just basic information about what is encryption and what kind of is it and where it is used. Basically, encryption is used to save our data from hacking, or from anybody outside our organization. We don't want them to access our data, or when we are using our data over network, we don't want other people to read it. So that's where we need the encryption, even in within organizations too. Due to the compliance and all those stuff, data should not be roam around freely. It has to be encrypted. Okay, now we look into the data encryption for various Azure services. And data encryption in Azure is used in many services, but we will be focused only on the services which are used or related to data engineering. So if you look at this chart, the main thing is if we look at this slide, it have a table which shows for specific services in storage, what's the encryption for rest and motion, who manage the keys here, and I'm talking about the same keys which we saw in asymmetric and symmetric, like the key, and is there a double or second layer encryption option is available. So we'll start with Cosmos DB. In Cosmos DB, data is encrypted by default, both for rest and transit. So the people who don't know what is rest and transit, the rest is basically when data is stored and nobody's using it. So that's on persistent storage, that's encryption, that's data at rest. And if that data is encrypted, so we call encrypted data encryption at rest. And transit is where data is in the motion. So basically, when we are moving the data from one system to other systems over the network. So in Cosmos DB, both data at rest and transit, both are encrypted by default, and there is no way you can turn it on and off. It's encrypted. And the encryption used for the type of encryption for rest is AES 256. I don't work we don't need to know about the details of it, because that's more for the security people, but just for our understanding, or just for our knowledge, we that's why I mentioned there. The encryption key for the first layer, or the default encryption, because here, when you create a Cosmos DB storage, the first layer, or you can say there is a default encryption. So for that, who manage the key? So those keys are managed by Microsoft using the service managed keys. These are we can't change it to anything else. These are by default. And nowadays, to increase the security, we can have a second layer of encryption in Cosmos DB using the customer managed key. So customer managed key, the keys are of the customer or whoever is creating the Cosmos DB. And as I mentioned, it's as the name says, these keys are managed by customer. It could be in Key Vault, it could be in the data center, depending on how they want to do that encryption. They want to do it on the client side, or they do it on the server side. But the main thing is encryption at rest and transit is by default. We can't turn it off, and that encryption is managed by Microsoft using service managed key. But if you want, we can do a double encryption using a customer managed key. So let me show you 1 second, like what that mean. Okay, let's go to our Azure portal. Okay, and Cosmos DB. So when you create, when you click on this create Cosmos DB account, and we will pick Core SQL API. I pick by default this, or I don't need to do this. I was talking about this. If you click on this encryption thing, so here you will see this one option, like data encryption. So this is the second layer. This is not the first layer. The first layer is automatically, this is the second layer. And this is the by default. If you need the second layer, you have to click here, and then you have to provide the customer managed key. Okay, and if you do this, like the first layer is still going to come. So if we look at this image, 1 second, it's going to look like this. Your data, the first layer, you can say encryption with service managed key, and the second layer is the encryption with customer managed key. And how we do this is basically, if we go to portal, when we are creating, if we keep it this way, only one default encryption will be done. And if we click on this, that will create the second layer on top of it. Okay, let's go here. Encryption of Data Lake Gen 2 is set up during the account creation, pretty same as the Cosmos DB. And here also it is always enabled by default for both REST and transit data. Encryption at REST is transparent, which automatically encrypts prior to data persisting, and decrypts prior to retrieval. So data is always secured in Data Lake Gen 2 using HTTPS. And we all know HTTPS is a secured protocol. We can either manage, like for here, like how this default encryption, like who manages the keys here. So here we can go either, like if you want to do service, like Microsoft our platform using service managed key, we can do that too. Even we can do the customer managed, but by default setting is the Microsoft using service managed key. But if you have your own keys, you can use that too. And here the double encryption, or the second layer of encryption, is enabled using a setting name enable infrastructure encryption setting. So let me show you very quickly how we do that. If we go here, let's go this, and here also, like we don't have to create it, like just for understanding. If you go here, and I already have one, but I'm not sure like what I put it there, but I'll go create a new one. So if you click on this, and here we have encryption option. So for default we have both. If you want to go with Microsoft managed key, that's also okay. If you want to go customer, that's also okay. In case of Cosmos DB, it looked like same, but in case of Cosmos DB, if you don't select anything, first layer will be Microsoft, and if you select customer, that means the second layer will be the customer, not the first layer. First layer is still going to be the Microsoft managed key, but here the first layer itself will become Microsoft, or like if we select this, that means the first layer itself is managed by customer. And if we have to do the double encryption, we have to select this, and we need to keep this in mind, like, and they give you the warning, like this option can't be unchanged after this storage account is created. And let's go to the slide. Hope these two make sense. And the last one is the Azure Synapse Analytics. And like we need to keep something in mind. Like when we create Azure Synapse Analytics, we create a workspace, and in workspace we create pools, SQL pools. So the workspace by default is encrypted, even at rest and in transit, but the pool is not by default. like it's by default, it's not encrypted. We have to manually do it. Okay, let me show you very quickly. If I go here, 1 second, I already have a Azure Synapse Analytics workspace already. So, and in this, I already have two, like this is the built-in serverless SQL, but this is the SQL pool. If I click here and like if you select your SQL pool and you scroll down and you see transparent data encryption, so you see this is by default off. The workspace in like, and if I go there, this workspace is encrypted, but that pool is not encrypted. Hope that makes sense, like it's not confusing. So the workspace is encrypted but not the pool, and you can encrypt the pool if you want to, like just by this button, and you can save it. I don't want to make any changes, but that's how you do this. So the difference you need to understand is the workspace is encrypted, not the pool, and data in transit is encrypted by default using the transparent layer security. Okay, and here also the how this is managed, like it is basically like the first layer of encryption is managed by Microsoft, the keys, and this is workspace level. And the second thing is the second layer of encryption we can do through customer managed keys. So let me show you how to do that too. Let me very quickly go to my portal. And this is I'm talking about at workspace level. Okay, if we go here, create a new workspace. Okay, and if you click on security, so you see the double encryption, and this is the same. The double encryption is when you're creating it, and if you enable in all three, it can't be undo. Here also, like you can see, if you want, you can enable double encryption. Just click on this, then you have to select your key, which most of, like it depends, but most of the time it will be in key vault, but it could be in your data center too. Okay. So hope that makes sense. Like double encryption is available in all three through customer managed, in Cosmos DB. In Cosmos DB and Azure Synapse Analytics is through customer managed, but here it's through one setting. And the first layer, which is this, like if you look at this diagram is very simple representation of encryption. Let's say this is our data. There is one layer of encryption, then there is a second layer of encryption. So for the one layer in Cosmos DB, Microsoft managed keys are used. Same for Azure Synapse Analytics, but in Data Lake Gen 2, we can go for customer hit, like the customer managed key too. And in the other two, like this layer is customer managed key, but for Data Lake Gen 2, they have something we don't know the details of it. That's not required for us at this point. But if you understand this thing, and like it's more than enough for DP203, because there is no way you can like you don't need the details of like what kind of encryption is it, because if that's for like security folks, but not for data engineers. Okay, let's go to data masking. So the next topic is the data masking. So data masking is the process of hiding the original data. It helps to limit the exposure of sensitive data to the user who should not have access to data from viewing it. So if you look at the picture, we can observe that sorry, let me go back very quickly. So all the digits are not visible. Let's assume this is a phone number. This is like telephone number, but all digits are not, like only last 3 digits are visible. So this is the way of hiding the data. Like, and even nobody can make a guess about it. Okay, and this is like data masking is more about the access control, and data encryption is more about like where you want to secure your data from outside world. This is more like we don't want to give access to non-privileged users, and it is only available in Azure SQL database, SQL managed instance, Azure Synapse Analytics, and with the name of dynamic, like with the setting dynamic data masking. It's not available in Cosmos DB or Data Lake Gen 2 or other services. It's basically available here, and it can be enabled through Portal or T-SQL. So basically it can be done directly on the Azure Portal site, or we can write query. I'm going to show you both, but it can be done by these options in Azure Synapse Analytics and other services. Before we jump into like how to do it, like the other thing which we need to know, that's like a type of data masking. So there's like 4 types of data masking available currently in Azure. The first one is the default. So the default is basically full masking depending on the data type. So what that means, let's say if you have a like a 4-character varchar field, it will cross it out. If it's an integer, it will put 0. If it's a date, it will put something like that. So depending on the what kind of data type it is, it will fully mask that. Like not like if we were looking the last page, like this is a telephone number, but last 3 digits are visible. Here, nothing is visible. Email, it exposed the first letter of the email and the suffix like .com. So for example, let's say this is anand@gmail.com. So we can see only A and .com, not even Gmail. What's in there, we don't know. The third type is the random masking. It's a function used for any numeric type of masking. The original value of will be replaced with a random value basically. And the last one is the custom, where this custom function is like only first and last digits are visible, and in between we pad something like 0, 1 or X, whatever we want. Okay, let's do a very quick demo for it. Okay, let me go to my portal. Okay, 1 second. So I'm using Azure Synapse Analytics to show you this, and we're going to do it through, I'm going to show you both the T-SQL and the portal too. So let's go here. So you understand this is, I already created a dedicated SQL pool. So if we go here and like if you refresh it, there is no table. So I have a script ready which shows like how we create this. So if we look at this script, the first thing is we creating a schema. So I've already created the schema, so I'm not going to redo it. Like I'll just show you, this is the schema already existing. And after that, I'm creating the table with the mask columns basically. So here is the table name is the membership, and it have these fields: first name, last name, phone number, email, discount code, and all those. And you guys have seen all this, like this makes sense, nothing crazy. But from here to here, this is the thing, which is, this is basically the mask function. So the type of masking we want to do, so we use this like a keyword masked with bracket start function, and then depending on the type of masking you do. So this is the default email random number, which we already talked, and this one is the custom. I know like they use partial key, the partial as a word, but this is the custom. So what happened here in the first name, like it starts with 1, and then in between it will have 5x and then followed by 1. Okay, so even somebody's name is very big, for that also it's going to show like that, so nobody can even make any guess about it. For phone number, it's default, so everything will it's varchar, so everything will be cross out. Email we already mentioned, the first digit, the first alphabet, and the .com will be visible, and this will be the random numbers. Okay, and let's see, if I go here, we don't have any tables, so let's run one script very quickly. I'll change it to data masking. As I already mentioned, I already created the schema, so I'm not going to run this. I'm going to run first create table. Okay, paste here. 1 second, sorry. Perfect. Run. Okay, So query executed successfully. We can check in our data. If I refresh this, so table is created. Now let's just insert one record, and this is for sample. This like if you want, you can put more, but this is just to make you sure. So we putting some values in it, like first name, last name, what's the telephone number, what's the email, and all those. So this is the dummy data we putting in. We run it. If that runs successfully, if we do this, so like so far, like you will be like, okay, we created these 5 columns as must, but I logged in as a admin, so I have the privilege to see unmasked data. So what we need to do next, we need to create a new user and give that user only read only or select only permission, and after that we'll see what will happen. I'm not going to execute these two because I already created the user. So basically here, like I'm creating a user name masking test user, and after that I'm granting only select only permission to this user. Okay, so if I run this, I'm trying to impersonate this. So if I run this, and you need to keep in mind, 1 second, like I'm using revert, so like I got just to come back, but if you don't want, you don't have to do it. Well, let's run this. So you see this? So everything like discount code is I don't know, this is a random number, and we see this, and this. Okay, 1 second, let me quickly check. Perfect. And if we revert this, let's do this. So now revert, basically I'm back to as an admin, and I can run it again and I'll see everything. Perfect. So this is masking, which we do through the like T-SQL. If you want to do it like and as I said, there's another option to do it through the portal. If you want to do from the portal, you can do that too. So that's not a problem. If you click on this, this is the Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace. You go there, click on this, and if you scroll down, you will find dynamic data masking. You click on this, and you can see like these things which we already created the rules. So it's already there. Only 1 column left. If you want, you can click on this add mask, select the schema, type what column you need. Rest of the columns you can't pick because they already grayed out or they already masked. So we can pick this, and then depending on like what kind of you want, like default, credit card, email. Like here, let's go with default, add, save. So in this way, like that's done successfully. So in this way, we can add dynamic masking from here too. So that's all for today's video. I hope you guys like it, and stay tuned for the next video. Be safe. Thanks. Have a good one.